You think you want to learn how to close? Let me give you a hint. It's not in the closing section. You have to do it earlier. Let's take a good look at this. Everyone seems to misunderstand exactly what goes into a close, and a lot of it starts at the beginning of the call. It could be on a phone call, it could be on a face-to-face appointment, but it all starts in the beginning. And that's what I really want to look at first. There's so many times when I talk to people, the first thing they want to talk about is building rapport. And I ask them how they do it. And they talk about, if I see pictures of them golfing, I'm going to, act like I know golf. If I see a fish on the wall, I'm going to talk about that fish. Well, I want to give you a hint. Customers get tired of that same thing. There's no genuineness in what you're trying to do. I understand what you're trying to do is connect with that person, but let's put this in perspective. If you come into my office, you're going to see a picture with me standing there with 3 other people, got my little clubs, everything looks like I'm a real golfer. Well, I'm not a very good golfer, so I don't golf a lot. But when I've gone out to tournaments and played best ball, obviously I've carried some good people with me, and it's fun and the camaraderie. But when a salesperson brings it up, there's 2 things. Either I have to lie and say I'm a pretty good golfer, or I tell you the truth, I'm not a good golfer. But either way, neither one of those are good thoughts in my head. Let's say you go into an office and someone loves to golf. Well, guess what? While they're talking to you and they're discussing golfing, they're trying to get in their mind, why am I talking to this person? I could be, turning out, the 9th tee and heading towards home to get to the 19th tee. In other words, you know what I'm talking about. My whole point there is this. With rapport, you need to be genuine with these people, because ultimately you're wanting to develop a relationship at some point. So let's put you in that position when you're sitting down with that client. They're at their work, or they may be at your office across a conference table. But either way, they're at work. So what you want to do is talk to them about what they like that's related to their business. What is it that they do? Get them talking, get them bragging. They may have something going on, especially if they've asked you to come in. There's a reason why they brought you there. And so you want to get to that point as quickly as you can. The second point where people mess up is this. You spend all this time and effort. You spend money to get leads coming in. Everything happens. It looks like it's going to be perfect. You get in there, you've done a little bit of rapport, ask about the company, kind of get an idea for what they do, and then you just start setting up the agenda. And that's where we make mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of the agenda is for you to take control so that you control the conversation, to find out everything you need to get them in a better position than they are now. So anytime you lay out an agenda, you need to make sure at the end of it, it's giving you control, not obviously, but giving you control of the conversation so that you get the information you need to accomplish the goals for your client. And keep in mind, they are the focus, and that's why you set that agenda. Now, that brings us to the next point. I talked about setting an agenda for talking to the customer, and they are the focus. But sometimes the customer just isn't the focus, but you need to focus on them, but you just really don't care. You can tell the same story. You can do the things that you get away with a lot of times, and you're thinking that's okay. But I want you to be aware of something. Just because a customer doesn't tell you they know you weren't listening, and just because they can pick up on it, there's 3 key things for a customer to buy from you. First, they have to like you, know you, and then trust you. And so when you're going through this, they're not going to tell you everything. They want to know, is their best interest what you're focused on? That's what they want to know if they're going to buy from you. So this really messes with your closing step. If you haven't gotten them to know you, like you, and trust you, in other words, you don't care about them, guess what? Your close is going to go very bumpy. Now, number 4. So many times, now think about it, earlier we talked about the agenda, and I said if you didn't take control, you let the customer get in there and start asking a bunch of questions. What you do as a representative, you feel good about that because you're getting to talk and you're getting to demonstrate how smart you are and what a genius you are and what a great product this is, and you love the product. But here's what's happening. You're over-educating the customer. You're probably telling them a lot of things they don't want to know, and you're hoping that they will stop you and say, hey, you've done enough, I want to buy it. And it's what I call bouncing. You have no idea how many times I've been in sales calls and the rep just keeps bouncing and bouncing, and you're thinking, man, when are you going to ask this guy to buy? Even if you do the rest of the call wrong, at some point you've got to ask for that business. And that brings us to step number 4. You just simply, or step number 5, I'm sorry. You just simply this, you never self-evaluate. At the end of a call, if the customer didn't buy, they're dumb, they're idiots, or whatever. And I've had people talk to me about, Byron, you shouldn't say that in your videos. It offends people. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been around salespeople my whole life, and whether if you say it or not doesn't mean you didn't think it. And we blame the customer. It's very rare we blame us. You've got to evaluate what happened in a call. What could have you done better? What could have you done to help them see that you're really trying to help them? What did you miss? But you really need to evaluate after each call, and that way it improves the whole process. When you get to a close, you're ready to close that business, and it's a natural flow. The customer has no idea, but it just naturally flows into it. You ask for the business, and they say great. If they throw you an objection, if you've done everything right before then, you're fully prepared for that objection. So here's what I'm wanting you to realize in this thing as far as closing tips. There's more to closing than just a few fancy words that some trainer has taught you that when we're sitting among a whole bunch of salespeople, it sounds great and wonderful. That's the closing line I'm going to use forever. Yes, you will close business. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut. What I'm wanting you to do is to become that professional who can sell the product that you sell without giving away the house. It's so, how many times I deal with representatives and they say, man, everybody hits me on price. They hit me on price. Well, the reason is, you're not doing the right things right. You build fake rapport. You lay out an agenda that doesn't focus on the customer. You truly don't focus on them. And then ultimately you never ask for the business, and you just never get better because you don't evaluate it. This past weekend, Tiger Woods won the Masters, his 5th green jacket, even though it's really only one, but he's won that jacket 5 times. He in 2005 was the last time he won it. Through these last 14 years, that man has gone through a tremendous amount. He's had back problems. He's had definitely family problems. Went through a divorce, lost hundreds of millions of dollars. He's had a rough go of it. Nobody believed he would come back except him. And what he did was he blocked it out, and every time he played and he got better and better and better, he had to adjust his swing for his back surgery. He always had to figure out what he had to do to get better. He did this as a boy. He's done it as a grown man. He is an impressive individual. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If you want to look like Tiger Woods, act like Tiger Woods, and be as successful as Tiger Woods, that's what you need to do. Evaluate, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, pack your parachute right. Now, if you like this video and it's helped you, please share it with your friends. If there's some different things that you want to do as far as subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll get notices as I'm doing some follow-up videos on each one of these steps. If you'll go on Facebook to BKL Media and follow me, you'll also get notified. And last but not least, on LinkedIn, this video will show up shortly and I'll have follow-up videos from it. Look, it's been a pleasure. I hope you share the video. I hope it has helped. You have a wonderful evening and you take care.